Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. In many of my videos on trains, I've mentioned my interest for model kits. And so I decided this evening to have just a very short presentation of the military model kits I've assembled since I returned to this hobby, this sort of wide spectrum modelling hobby, which includes model trains and model kits, and sort of combines both techniques together. And so when I was a kid, I began about 9, 10, more or less. The very first model kit, it was a Matchbox British Cromwell tank. Then I built I built a Hurricane, and I was using Yoo-Hoo glue, absolute rubbish, you know? And my wife has materialized behind me, indicating that it's time to go to eat. So I'm going to keep this really short. Anyway, she's like a ghost. She just comes in here. She's quite pleased that the railway board has been lifted for the moment, because the room was beginning to be completely out of control, and she also has reasons to come into this studio. Okay, so I started. I'm not going to go into my autobiography on model making right now, but I began more or less when we all begin, but I continued more or less until I was with various ups and downs, models that then got destroyed and things that didn't go according to plan, sadly, because of the facts of life. But I still have some kits that are in my ex room, a couple of them that survived, that I will eventually rescue and paint, and we'll do that together, thankfully. And in 2021, I decided, after I started drawing again, because I hadn't been drawing. I like to draw by hand, by hand, pencil, and then color in with pencils generally, or ink. I decided I would build models again. I wanted to go back into the hobby. I wanted to bring my train set back here. I wanted to do a series of things, which I have managed to do, thankfully. Anyway, the whole point is that I'd never painted anything. So I rebooted the modeling hobby, the kit building hobby, with a very simple, a very simple, but required a lot of modification, 1/32 scale Volkswagen Beetle by Airfix, which came with a sort of starter kit with the paints included. Came quite well. Those paints are pretty rubbishy compared to Vallejo. Then after I bought the Vallejos, I went to the local model shop and I discovered Vallejo. And Vallejo are really because I went to the shop and I said, look, I like painting, I like brush painting. What do you advise me to buy? And the bloke in the model shop in the centre in Padova, we still have one, he said, you get Vallejo. That way you do. And that's what I use. I use Vallejo and I thin it with water, and so very simple. And all of these are all brush painted, by the way. Everything you see on this wonderful paper turntable, because it's a bit difficult to turn. I'm planning to make a homemade turntable with an old IKEA clock glass, or plastic, shall we say. Everything here is brush painted, the whole lot. And I admit that with military vehicles, I'm not much for weathering. I like the military vehicle in either just as delivered or parade gloss finish. I like things to be spick and span. Maybe it's a consequence of my own experience in the military. I was a drill corporal, so I was responsible for small arms instruction and so training, and also drill and what you call square bashing and polishing and scrubbing. So that's the thing that's stuck in my wife laughs at this. She says, I was responsible for people keeping things clean when I tend to accumulate dust in this place here, but this is another story. Dust is one thing, but anyway, I'm not in the army anymore, and and there's nobody here to bark at me because I would have probably been on the punishment roll call if it kept things so dusty. Okay, anyway, let's keep things short now. So here are, we'll actually go through these. I've got all the photographs, so I'll make videos with the photographs, with the voiceover as well. And just a quick overview here, what we've got: G&B models, Bedford MK Army Lorry in 176 scale, so perfect for layout with double O trains and buses. You can see that the tarpaulin ropes, I painted them using the nib pen. That was the very first time I did it, and the wiper blades as well. The cab is just one clear moulding and had to be painted. Here we've got a Zvezda Russian Ural 4329 truck. This is a series of 1/100 scale models for a military strategy game, and this was really interesting. I don't know if you can see, maybe you can, maybe you can't. I think the video might. You can see there's the headlamps. I picked them out, black, first black and then silver, and beside them there are the indicators and side lights, which are two-tone silver and orange, and I did that using the nib pen. Again, the same applies to the tail lights and indicators. On this model here, I want to add the transmission shafts because they're not provided. I'm going to make them with copper wire. And here we can see this is 176. This is a big scale, so this was a very nice model to build. And these high visibility markings at the back, I made them yet again using the nib pen. I used the nib pen for the tail lights. As I said, the ropes, the front lights, the front side lights and indicators. Here we have the Polikarpov I-16, where I used all sorts of narrow tip brushes. Again, the nib pen was very useful, and I think it was a triple O brush to pick out the pilot. That was a lot. I like these very, very small models, and I've already made a video about these, so I'll add the link in the description box. And then here there's the pretty easy one, this one here, because tanks are easy. In this case here, no headlamps, nothing, and this is a T26 tank in scale 1/100. Very simple to assemble. Yes, some filing here and there, but a very nice little paint job. I really enjoyed doing the paint job here. To obtain Soviet olive drab khaki, it's the Vallejo olive drab with a spot of orange in it. In the case of the British Army Lorry, it's slightly too dark. This is non-diluted, this is as it comes out of the bottle. It's a little bit too dark, but looking at various photographs, I've also seen British Army lorries in a darker olive green when they were newer or just freshly repainted. Then it's matte paint, so it fades in the sun. So army vehicles are never really spick and span perfect. Of course, the plane has got gloss finish because the planes did have gloss finish to make them as smooth as possible. So on top of the paint, I added some gloss varnish. And then we have the pièce de résistance, shall we say. Speaking French and trying not to sound like Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses. I don't have a Cockney accent. This is the Alan 135 ZIS 5 lorry, army truck. This is a great model. I built this between Christmas 2022 and spring 2023. I enjoyed myself. It was great fun. It wasn't easy. This is one that I bought because I bought this kit, say, in 2000, planning to build it. And before getting round to build this complicated thing, I built that Airfix Volkswagen Beetle I mentioned before because I had to sort of retrain. I was out of practice. And this is all brush painted as well. And but we'll look at this in detail. And when I painted it, I used I looked at lots and lots of photographs, and the roof is, in real life, the roof is covered in cloth, in oilcloth. So to get this effect, I mixed gloss, matte black and gloss black in a sort of 50-50 ratio, and then I applied the final coat very liquid to do this kind of not very clear finish of the sort of waterproof cloth roof. Same applies to the headlamps. That's semi-gloss, so matte and gloss mixed 50-50. Same applies to the wheel discs. Again, instead the chassis is all matte black. I went for matte black for the chassis, running boards, etc, etc. But we'll look at this in detail. Now I don't have time to really go through. Also, seeing they were down, I gave them a dust because they live on a shelf up there, but in one of the points, but there isn't so much dust, so we're quite okay. And of course, I left the bonnet, can be just lifted off, and I didn't fix the doors so that we can actually look inside and see the interior. And when I made this, there was a lot of instructions are relatively, they're not basic instructions, but they're not super detailed like a Zvezda. Not at all. There was a lot of filing, a lot of modifications, a lot of work. It was like building the real thing, you know, chassis members, cross members, the lot. I made mistakes, I corrected the mistakes, so you'll see all the stuff in photographs. I hadn't started making videos yet. But this was really great fun. This was an absolutely fantastic kit to build. I've got the GAZ, I think I've got the GAZ AA truck to do by Zvezda, which has got even more parts to assemble. And this was a very good sort of, you know, model kit building academy. Enjoyed doing this one here, and I also made bracing for the cab interior, the inside of the roof, because to make it really realistic. I looked at lots of videos and lots of photographs because that's the fun of making a model kit. But regarding, as I told you before, weathering, I don't know. I really appreciate a nicely weathered vehicle, a nicely weathered model in a nice military diorama, but I don't have a diorama. But I just like vehicles. I just like them. I'm bonkers about vehicles. So for me, a vehicle ready for parade, ready for inspection, with shiny tires I just left the rubber tires as they are. Some people maybe they put matte paint over them to sort of tone down the. But I just went for the shiny effect. They've been shined for parade. Very often in the Soviet and ex-Soviet bloc, they would whitewall the tires with whitewash for parade, for that. But I don't really like whitewall tires, so I just left them as they were. I just like the effect. Anyway, that's that for the moment. We'll have a look at these here in detail, one by one. I'll also retrieve all the photographs, make some videos, and every now and again, I'll pop in a video about the model kit, or we'll chat about the model kit. Okay, cheerio. Let me know if you like these videos, what you think about them. Not everybody's interested in model kits, I understand. But anyways, modelling techniques, and we can talk about different techniques so we can apply even to the railway sector. And that's all. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. I've not been saying this for some time, but maybe every now and again I'll have to repeat it. Cheerio and see you next time. Ciao, ciao. I'm off to eat.